that's when I realized that there was no way that I was ever going to find the fulfillment and to satiate the hunger that I had inside to create more in my life, to be more, to feel certain levels of love, freedom, and joy that at the time was just a mental conception. It was just faith, but I hadn't actually experienced in my body yet. Part of being on purpose, especially in your business, is allowing yourself to evolve and allowing the business to evolve with you, and to actually really give yourself permission to be in your soul's purpose, and knowing that your understanding of that purpose is going to shift and evolve as you evolve. We put ourselves in a really crappy trap because we subscribe to the belief system that when the day that I get this thing or make this much money or hit this milestone in my business, then I will be able to feel happy.
Welcome to It's Not What You Think, the podcast that takes you on a transformative journey to rewrite your story of greatness and reawaken your soul's purpose. I'm your host, Celine DaCosta, a subconscious mind expert, master coach, and believer in the limitless power and magic that lives within all of us. My intention in this podcast is to propel you into your next level of success so that you are free to create the life that your heart most desires. Through deep, actionable insights, personal stories, and world-class guests, I'll provide you with the tools, strategies, and resources you need to unlock the fullest expression of who you're meant to be in this lifetime so that you can consciously design a reality that is beyond what you could have ever dreamed of. Join me on this journey to personal growth and evolution, and let's live our lives in accordance with our highest soul's calling. This podcast is your weekly check-in to help this path become more simple, obtainable, and fun. Thank you for tuning in today, and now let's dive in.
Hello, Soul Fam, and welcome to It's Not What You Think. Today, I'm going to be opening up about a topic that is very near and dear to me, especially during this time of my life, which is how to build a business that is fueled by purpose and meaning rather than being ego-driven. And fam, I can tell you that this has been, in the past 7+ years since I've started my coaching business, it's been something that I've really grappled with. And only recently, in the past, I would say like 1.5 years, have I really felt like I've gone into a deeper layer of what it means to let go of my ego gratification as I'm building this vessel that is a vehicle for service. And even as I speak this, just know that I'm diving into this episode, I am by no means the ultimate pinnacle of example of how to do this. However, I've had a very interesting journey along my business, especially when it comes to this area of going from, what do I want? What does my ego want, to transitioning into, wait, actually, what is my true soul purpose? And how do I build a business by soul? So I love to share more about my journey of going from being very unfulfilled in my corporate job and then recreating through my own unconditioning through my own past conditioning. And yes, I had to do a lot of unconditioning, but through my own past patterns and belief systems, unconsciously recreating the very same thing that was unfulfilling me in a corporate construct. And then how I've been able to break out of that and really continue to create and build a business that is in alignment to my soul's calling, and really understanding entrepreneurship through the lens of what is my soul here to create and express through business, and how can I show up in alignment and in integrity to that. So the first piece, I guess, let's just dive right into, this winding path that I've had towards a purposeful business. As when it comes to business, especially, I know there's a lot of you, some of you might have studied business and have studied entrepreneurship and felt, wholly prepared to start a business, but I can speak for myself. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs out there, I didn't have a stinking clue what I was doing when I decided to start my own business. I didn't have any background as an entrepreneur, definitely did not have any kind of business background. I was a creative through and through, and I didn't really know the how to build a business. I just knew that it was my path. I just knew that I couldn't ever work for anyone else, and I knew that I was here to build something that was way bigger than me, even though I wasn't quite sure what that is. And in that calling, I decided to start walking down the path that is the path of being a business owner, and without knowing where it would take me. Now, if we fast forward to today, between from 7 years ago to today, 7 years ago, where I was like, what's business? I don't know what business is. Like, how do I do this? Am I a freelancer? Like, just really not knowing anything about business. And fast forwarding to today and where I'm at today, I mean, I've built a $500,000+ business on its way to seven figures in just a few years. And I've been, even today's topic of today's podcast is really around building a purpose driven business. And this is something that I've also been featured in Forbes for, being one of the leaders online that is building a business that is very much purpose driven. And I don't want to like list off my credentials. I'm sure you guys can find them on my website. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because, sometimes that little voice comes up of who am I to talk about this? Like, who am I to speak into this? And, uh, I'm a nugget in comparison to many titans out there. But I've made my way through business. I've made my way through a lot of subconscious reprogramming when it comes to business. I've generated fair amounts of money, and done so in a way that I was like, that stressed me out. I've done so in a way that was really fulfilling. And so yeah, I do want to dive in and speak into my experience, because I would say all in all, I've done pretty well for myself in my short career, and have some nuggets, at least for those of you who are looking to grow beyond that 500,000 to seven figure level, who are desiring to have your work recognized by Forbes or TEDx or the top 100 podcasts, or top tier media, as my work has been, or who are desiring to be able to impact a lot of people's lives and to create courses and programs that are really going to have a ripple effect on people's lives and transform their lives. So all that being said, yeah, let's go back to the beginning, and then I will walk you through this process and really share a bit more about the steps I've taken to aligning my business to my soul. So let's start from the beginning, which is when I started to formulate a relationship with the concept of work, of working. And this was when I was 14 years old. And this was shortly after my stepfather walked out on me and my mother, which you can, if you want to go deeper into my personal story, I go all the way in the first 3 episodes of this podcast. And I started to work in order to support myself financially and to eliminate myself out of the financial equation, so that my mother didn't have the additional financial pressure of taking care of me. And so I started working at an insurance company when I was 14. And from age 14 all the way until I went to college, I was working 20 to 30 hours a week in addition to being a full-time student, really to be able to generate funds to support myself, to take care of the things that I wanted to pay for, to put into savings. And that's when I really started to forge my relationship with work, which would then eventually down the line inform my relationship in corporate and then in my own business. And so, right from the get go, I had this really strong conditioning that I needed to work really hard, and it was going to be unpleasant for every dollar that I made. That if I didn't work, then I would be in a state of survival. So there was that pressure and that lack of safety that I felt, that if I stop working, then my mom and I are going to be in financially in trouble, and we're going to be in scarcity. So I need to keep the wheels spinning, so as not to create any further additional stress in what was already a life that was very much being lived in survival mode. So during this phase of my life, I was subjected to this really deep conditioning, unconscious conditioning around how hard I need to work, how hard I need to work for every dollar that I earned, how even though I was working hard. There was never enough money. There was so much entanglement that happened that I had to detangle and resolve within my system, especially when I decided that I wanted to earn more money in my business. And this is something that I believe there's an episode on investing in your financial mindset that you're also welcome to listen to, where I go deeper into the journey of how I untangled the many money stories that were holding me small, and how I was able to make that leap from, being stuck at 50K months to being able to generate 100 plus K months. So, um, so then, fast forward to after college, I graduated and I decided to go into advertising. I decided to go into corporate in New York City, and it was definitely not a sole decision. It was definitely not a decision that I was inspired by. It was more so um, an ego based decision of, well, I want to be successful. I want to make a certain amount of money, and I want to be able to like progress in the corporate ladder, and I want to be respected, and I want to be seen, and I want to be like perceived as a valuable member of society. And therefore, in order for me to have all of that, I need to follow a certain path, and I need to check off certain boxes um, for me to be regarded, to be seen the way I want to be seen. And that was all a construct that I had created in my reality from the pure, just being an immigrant, growing up in the United States, and subscribing to that paradigm of the American dream. I felt like, okay, the only way that I'm ever going to be respected and seen is if I just work really hard in college, and then I'm going to, work really hard in college, and then I'm going to get all A's, and then I'm going to get into one of the best jobs companies in the US, and then I'm going to get a really prestigious job, and then I'm going to work in corporate and check the box, right? And so what happened when I started my corporate career in advertising, I just defaulted into the thing that was being modeled to me, into the thing that I had learned to do ever since I was 14 years old, which is you clock in, you do the work, you work really hard to make the money that you need to make, and then you make the money, and then there's never enough of the money, and then you just kind of like scrape by, pay your bills, keep working in the hopes that one day you're going to get a promotion. Like just keep grinding away, and then one day hopefully you get a promotion, and then you make a little bit more money, and you can raise your standard of living then. And that was the paradigm that I continued to be subscribed to until, I had the first wave of my awakening, where I realized, oh my God, this is a freaking trap. I am trapped in this. And if I keep going on this hamster wheel, I'm going to die. Like my soul is going to die. And so I got to this soul withering point in my life, and I was young, so I'm really grateful for that. I was 24, and realized that there's no exit from this. Like I'm just going to keep doing this again and again and again and again until I die. If I choose this path. And that's when I realized that there was no way that I was ever going to find the fulfillment and to satiate the hunger that I had inside to create more in my life, to be more, to feel certain levels of love, freedom, and joy that at the time was just a mental conception. It was just faith, but I hadn't actually experienced in my body yet. And as I realized this, as I came into this realization, that's when it became very clear to me that I had to get out, that I had to get out of that hamster wheel, that I had to leave my corporate job, that I had to do something else. So why did I do that? Because my soul was drained. It was, I made a little quip about my soul's dying. Of course, your soul doesn't actually ever die, but it can definitely disconnect from your body. It can definitely be like, okay, you're not listening to me, so I'm going to check out. Bye bye, like until you're ready, you know? So, and this is the case. I've seen so many people who are just disconnected from the essence of their soul. And to me, that is the biggest tragedy that can happen to a human being, is being disconnected from your soul. Because your soul, it's what you are. Like your soul has come here on this planet to experience life, and you're either living or you're dying. And so if you're not living, you're dying. And dying is just like, my gosh, If you're not living, I mean, I don't even know how to outline this. Like, life is such gets to be such a joyful, beautiful, fulfilling, expansive, gorgeous experience. And so many human beings are defaulting into dying inside as a result of their past conditioning and being stuck in the societal construct that, for the ease of today's conversation, we're just going to call the matrix, and just plugged into this system that is designed to suck you dry of your soul, like, to just put it bluntly. It's designed to disconnect you from your body, to keep you disconnected from your body, disconnected from your intuition, disconnected from the deeper reasons why you've come here, which you only can discover. You can only know what your soul's purpose is. Like, you're the only person who's ever going to be able to excavate that. But we do have something in common, all of us, which is we have the kindling and we have this fire inside. We have this spark of essence of life inside of us that says, I'm ready to live. I'm ready to create more in my life. I'm ready to experience what life has to offer me. Like, give me someone who wakes up in the morning and says, yep, I would like to experience mediocrity. I would like to feel drained of my life force. I would like to just feel like nothing. I would like to feel empty inside, and I would like to just do a bunch of stuff that gets me to a projected goal that actually doesn't actually really help me feel anything anyways, because once I get to that goal, there's going to be another goal, and then there's going to be another goal, and how I feel is not really going to change. No, like, who says that? And if you say that and you mean that, then just pause this podcast right now. This is not the podcast for you. This is for you if you feel inside as I'm speaking that, wow, I'm here for something beautiful. I desire more in my life. I desire to experience beauty and joy and love and freedom and all of the beautiful, incredible experiences that life has for me. I desire to be able to connect to what my heart dreams of and to manifest it into physical reality and to experience it in this lifetime, whether that be children or having a soul-led business, or having a beautiful villa in front of the ocean, or driving this like gorgeous car that you love to drive, or having a certain lifestyle that really lights you up every day, or having a certain amount of funds. It's, even though it's not even about the money, it's about like what the money's just a tool of what you actually want to create in your life. And so whatever that life looks like for you, it's something greater than you. So as I left corporate New York City, it was really clear to me that I was put on this planet for something bigger, for something greater. And it was not that. It was not that job. It was not waking up every day, at 6:30 in the morning, going to the gym, then going to work for 10, 12 hours, and then, hitting up a friend, going to get a overpriced drink in a, overrated New York hottest bar, and then going home, being really tired, not getting enough sleep, and then doing it again and again and again, and maybe having a weekend to look forward to where I didn't have to do it all over again for 2 days. No, it was not for me. So when I broke out of that, and in episode 3 of this podcast, you can learn more about the couch surfing journey that I did around the world, and I decided to just quit everything, put things in storage, and buy a one-way ticket. Um, and challenge myself to do the social experiment where I couch surfed around the world for almost a year, sleeping in the homes of strangers and documenting my story of doing that, all in the hopes that if I did something so extreme, so different than anything I've ever done, but I adhered to my values and what my heart desired, then life would inevitably lead me to my purpose. That was the bet that I took on myself. And guess what, folks? It paid off. It paid off big time. And again, if you want to learn more about what that bet was, episode 3, and then there's another episode around how the biggest risk I took led me to my soul's purpose. So I definitely recommend listening to those if you want to dig deeper into this. So yeah, I took the biggest risk of my life And I said, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to go off into the world without a job, without much money, and just with this dream. I have no idea what I'm going to do if it's not corporate. But what I do know is that I'm going to listen to my intuition for once. I'm going to redevelop, rekindle my relationship with this inner knowing, with this inner voice that wants to speak to me. And I'm going to allow my values to guide me. And I'm going to allow my heart's desires, which at that point in time was to travel, to meet people, and to write, to guide my path. And if I am in alignment, if I am in my heart, if I'm in accordance to my value system and I'm following my heart's desires, it is inevitable that somehow I will have to be led to my purpose. Because if I'm not, then this whole purpose thing is a gimmick. And so I tested this out myself. And that's why when I talk about purpose, when I talk about the soul and listening to the soul and the guidance that your soul has for you, I'm so passionate about it. And hopefully you can feel that I'm very grounded in this. Like I'm a freaking believer of this, not because I read about it in a book or took some course on it or someone that I trust like told me some amazing things about this. It's because I have lived it. I have lived it again and again and again. I have put myself through the fires of initiation. I've walked across the burning ground of letting myself die to myself and rebirth myself again and again and again, only to remember what I'm here sharing with you, which is that there is a purpose for you here on this planet. And I don't say that from a place of pressure. It's not like, oh, you have a purpose and you better find it and you better like never rest until you have the purpose. Cause I don't think that approach is healthy either. I think a lot of people talk about, you need to find your purpose. And if you don't find your purpose, then you're screwed and you're not ever gonna be happy. Like, I don't actually agree with that angle at all. And what I have experienced is that when we find a deeper meaning for what we're doing, when we can connect to a deeper why, then life gets more graceful and more beautiful. And we're actually able to create way more than what we could if it was just about us, the individual. Because when we have a greater meaning to be here and we can connect to a greater meaning and a greater purpose, then it doesn't just become about me or you. It becomes about us and what we're creating as a collective together. And that is a much more motivating reason to live. And, I don't have children yet, but I know like from the many people that I coach and then students that I have and the good friends that I have who are already parents is that there's this certain element of when you have other people in your life that you're meant to take care of, there's a bigger meaning, there's a bigger purpose that comes alive in you. And I believe that something similar to be true with business as well, whether you're a parent or not, is that when you're creating a business from your soul and it's truly from your soul, then that business, it has a life that is well beyond you, the person who started it. It's well beyond even the team. It has a life that is unlimited, and it can expand as far as you want it to, because your business is not you. It's an expression, it's an extension of your soul. And because your soul is limitless, then the extensions that you create of your souls are limitless too. So all of that being said, I went on a little bit of a tangent. Please forgive me. But when I started this journey around the world, my purpose found me. And I remember, there's so many people that ask me, Celine, how did you start your coaching business? Did you always know that you were a coach? Like, how did you get into this? And my answer is, I didn't get into it. If it got me into it. Like, I didn't look for coaching. Coaching found me. This work found me, because as I learned to trust in life, as I gave up, I surrendered, I let go of the expectations that I had around, am I going to go back? Am I going to just travel for a year and go back to corporate? Or am I supposed to be a freelancer? Like, what am I going to do with my life? I have no idea. I let that go. And I really had a tremendous amount of trust and faith that things would work out. And naturally and organically, which I believe is the most sustainable way for anything to emerge, anything that's going to be like long term. Naturally and organically, my business birthed itself through me in the sense that I started off being like, oh, I'm really good at social media back then. Not as much anymore. But back then, before the developments of Instagram and the algorithm, I used to do a lot of social media consulting. And so I would start doing social media consulting. And then I followed my joy. I followed my passion. I really followed my heart. And I would start to work with people and be like, oh, I really like doing this. I don't like doing that. And so the next client that I would take on as a freelancer, I would do less of the thing I didn't like and more of the thing that I loved. And then eventually it developed into, from social media, people were asking me to help them with their website, to help them with things that were outside of social media. So I said, oh, okay, I'm a marketing consultant. And then the more I did a marketing consultant, the picture got bigger. And I realized, wait, I don't actually enjoy like auditing people's websites or auditing their social media accounts. I really like talking to them about what the bigger vision is of what they're doing. And that evolved into a branding coach. And as I started to do my branding work, I realized, oh my gosh, I love helping people with their brand, but I actually am really passionate about the storytelling aspect of the brand. And as I started to do that, evolved into a brand story coach. And I really helped so many entrepreneurs, incredible human beings, go from being completely unknown, like completely hidden gem in the shadows, to, so many people that I've worked with are now 7+ figures entrepreneurs, have been featured in Forbes, have gone on to speak at Tony Robbins stages in front of 10,000 people, TEDx stages, and have gone on to be really visible and seen and like known household names in their industry. And so I realized, ooh, I have a talent for this. And as I naturally followed my joy and my passion around this, then that evolved into, wait a minute, I actually am really passionate about helping them tell their story of who they really are on the inside and transform themselves on the inside. And that's where my work with subconscious reprogramming and helping people transform themselves in from the inside out to be able to take their desired life and turn it into reality through their business and through their lifestyle, that then emerged. And that's where I'm at today in my business, is really supporting people to create these profound transformations in themselves, to set themselves free of their old conditioning, to set themselves free of the limitations that they've put upon themselves that are currently blocking them from truly creating the business, the soul-led business they want to have, and having the lifestyle that goes along with it when you're being holistic, and allowing people to really be able to create that into reality, which sometimes looks like making more money so they can purchase that dream house, or send their kids to the best school. Sometimes it looks like writing that best-selling book or getting on that stage so they can spread their message to more people. Sometimes it looks like creating that program that's going to help thousands of people improve in a certain area of their life. So whatever that looks like for people, this is what I'm here to do right now. And so, what I'm hoping that you're hearing as I'm sharing a bit more about this is that if I were 7 years ago to say, ooh, I feel like my purpose is brand storytelling, and I fixated on that and I didn't move from that, and was completely inflexible, I would be putting myself right back into another trap, which, by the way, I've done sometimes, and I'll speak about my mishaps in a moment. But it's part of being on purpose, especially in your business, is allowing yourself to evolve and allowing the business to evolve with you, and to actually really give yourself permission to be in your soul's purpose, and knowing that your understanding of that purpose is going to shift and evolve as you evolve. So my visibility when I was 7 years ago, I could only see as far as help someone make a brand. And that's my purpose. And as I've gone on to do the self-development work in myself and serve people so I could actually get an embodied experience and grow my business and face the challenges that inevitably have come up for me in my business, I was able to access deeper layers of what my purpose was. And I was then able to access, oh, my work here, my purpose is to support people with transforming their lives from the inside out. And and again, in 2 years from now, 1 year from now, I could in my own growth and evolution, be like, oh, actually, it's a deeper layer. It's a deeper layer. It's a deeper layer. And as I sink into deeper and deeper understandings of what my soul purpose is, I'm bringing my business with me to match that. And that's where the aligned, when we talk about building an aligned business by soul, it's about getting clear on what is your vision for your life and what is your vision for how you want to serve and how you want to contribute to life. And then looking at your business model and understanding, okay, that's not a match right now. So I need to evolve the business model. I need to dissolve it, shift it so that it can be a match for the vision that I have. And then understanding that your business is one of the many ways that you get to serve and you get to express that calling that's in your soul. It's not the only way, because that's where a lot of people get stuck as well, is that they identify so much with their business and they think they're the business. And then they think that without their business they're nothing. And that's another way that we get stuck in our own prison, is getting over identifying with your business and then thinking it's you. And if it's not making a certain amount of money, it means something about you not being worthy, or you not being a talented entrepreneur, or whatever story you're telling yourself. Or if your business fails, it means you're a failure. Or if your business is super successful, it means people only like you for your success. There's when I'm working with people, you won't believe the amount of belief systems that we attach to our business that basically creates this very unhealthy codependency with the business, and makes us believe that if, like, you are the business, and if my business fails, then I fail. If people don't like a product that I've made, then there's something wrong with me. If a client wants a refund, that means something about me, you know? And that's not to say, you got to make sure that when you're building a business, you're providing value, and the value matches the energy exchange, aka the amount that you're paying for it. Like, that needs to be in integrity. But a lot of people get super, like, they project their own fears and their own insecurities onto their business, and then it starts to become this like distorted mirror of what your ego wants to achieve and wants to prove. Which brings me to the next piece around when you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business. It's like a very vulnerable thing, because especially if you're the face of your business, or if you're, similar to me, you're in the business of helping people and supporting them. It's really easy to get your own shit tied up and mixed up with your service. And so I remember that when I started my business, and even though, like, it emerged, like, it was such a beautiful natural emergence, like the way and my business came about. And by the way, that is one of the main reasons when people ask me, how did you like I hit my first six figures within 9 months of starting my business. And people ask me, how did you do that? Like, it is certainly not because I had extensive business knowledge. It was because I was following my intuition. I was really, like, in the seat of my soul, listening to in my inner guidance. And what's really ironic is that I started my business just fully flying by the seats of my pants. Like I said, no knowledge on business. I was just intuitively following. Like, I was in my heart and I was listening to soul. I was like, okay, tell me what I need to do next. And I was intuitively following. And because of that, I was able to grow really quickly. I got known really quickly. I was able to magnetize really high caliber clients very quickly in my career. And the biggest irony is that my business started to feel hard, and it started to feel basically like a trap again, to put it bluntly, when I stopped listening to my intuition and instead started to look outside of me for what I should do. And after, there was a moment where a year plus into my business, and people were asking me, how did you do it? How are you writing for Forbes right now? Like, how are you making six figures so early? Like, you don't even have a business background. Like, how are you doing this? And I started to ask myself, yeah, how am I doing this? And that was the moment where I started to look outside of myself, thinking, wow, surely this must be a fluke. Like, I must be a fluke. What am I doing? I need to, this person, I need to build funnels. Clearly I need to add, like, all the structure into my business, and I have to do all these things. And it started this, like, borderline obsession of, I need to do business the way that other people are doing it, people who are quote unquote doing better than me. And, there is a gift to this. There's a shadow side and there's a gift. The gift was that I got really involved with studying like business. And I actually, in those years, I acquired a tremendous amount of skill set in how to build a business and how to market and how to sell, because I just went deep into studying and actually learning the skills. And that was the gift of that. But if I have to be totally honest with you, those first few years of business, I was really driven by this feeling that I was not good enough, and I was not good enough of a business owner for me. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, and because I was driven through that, I went through thousands of hours of practitioner training, NLP, hypnotherapy, breath work, like thousands of hours of practitioner training I've done, which again, now looking back at it, I'm like, yep, I'm really glad I did that, because I definitely developed a very strong skill set in what I do. But the reason, the energetics behind why I was doing this were not super clean. It was very much coming from an ego space of, I need to receive more validation. I need to prove to people that that I'm enough of an expert. And I'm going to do that by having thousands of hours of practitioner training under my belt. I need to prove to people that, I'm legit. And I'm going to do that by pitching a lot of podcasts and getting into a lot of, top prestigious podcasts. I need to prove to people that like I'm of use, I'm useful. And so I need to go off and like help a lot of people, you know? And again, I hope that what you're hearing is that the output was awesome, and I'm really grateful for past me for getting me to where I am today. I'm really grateful for past me because I did, get featured in a lot of top podcasts and a lot of, big publications. And that serves me today because I have the credibility, and I did acquire a tremendous amount of skill set in my expertise. And I did, help a lot of people through my work. So all of this execution was incredible, but the issue was where it was coming from. It was not always coming from soul. Sometimes it was, but it wasn't consistently coming from soul. A lot of times it was being tainted by my need to prove that I was worthy, by my need to prove that I was good enough, by my need to show people that like, hey, listen, like I am a good enough business person, and my business matters, and look, like there was a lot of convincing. There was a lot of like me needing to convince you as to why the work I was doing was going to help you. And today I really have worked on this, because today I'm in this space of like, yeah, for those of you who feel called like in your soul to work with me, whether it's privately or my programs, you are going to receive a potent transformation. Like, and I don't want to sit here and explain to you why, because you can just feel it in your body. You're just going to feel the calling, and you're going to come and you're going to receive what you need to receive through doing this work together. But back then it was just, this was burning me out. And when we talk about burnout, sure, there is that physical reality element of you're working too many hours, too many times with your butt sitting down in front of a computer, like it's just too long, it hurts. Your eyeballs are hurting from the screen. There's too many meetings on your calendar. You're running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Like there's too much stuff going on, and that's creating a certain amount of pressure in your physical body. And you're not sleeping enough, or you're not eating well enough, or whatever it is. That's one element of burnout. And I went through that element. And then I remember there was a whole phase where I'm like, I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep, and I'm going to eat well, and I'm going to, clean up the physical act. And even as I cleaned up the physical act, I was still feeling burned out. And I thought to myself, what the heck? Why am I burned out? Like, I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. I'm still exhausted. What's up with that? I'm eating healthy, organic food. Like, why? And that's when I realized that it's not just the physical element you need to look at when it comes to burnout, but it's also the emotional piece and the energetic piece. So it's understanding that emotionally, if you are consistently pushing yourself in your business and you're feeling a way you don't want to feel, it's going to lead to burnout, and it's going to lead to resentment, which is the worst thing that you can create for yourself as a business owner, because you have this feeling of, okay, I work, okay, let me tell me, check in with yourself and see if any of this sounds familiar. I work so hard for people and they don't even appreciate me. Or like, you know, I'm paying my team so well and they're not even doing the work that I'm asking them to do. Or my clients, like, they take so much from me and then I feel drained and I feel burnt out and I feel like I have nothing left to give. And don't they see how much I'm giving already? These are just narratives that I'm collecting from the many people who have come to me and behind the scenes. And again, I've had moments where I went through this as well, so I'm not exempt from this. But it's like this resentment, this anger of, oh, these people are taking from me, or my clients don't appreciate me, I'm not making the money I need to be making for the amount of work that I'm putting in, what is going on? And there's all this anger and there's all this resentment that comes when you're building a business that is not soul aligned. This is what happens when you're being ego driven, either consciously or unconsciously in your business, is that you end up being emotionally exhausted because every day is passing by and you don't feel the way that you want to feel. But here's my question for you. What is more important to you than how you feel during your creative process? Are you building a business so that you can, on your deathbed, look back one day and think, I made a lot of money and I helped a lot of people and I got featured in a lot of places, like a lot of people know who I am, but damn, I'm miserable? Is that why you're building a business? Or is it because one day you get to look back and feel in your body, wow, I'm so grateful that during my lifetime on this earth, I was able to be of service. I was able to contribute to life, to the life that gave me life. I got to give back. I got to be in reciprocity with life, that I was able to grow beyond myself. And through me being in my joy, being in love, being in my freedom, I was able to inspire so many people to create something for themselves. I was able to inspire people, my family, people that I don't know, people that I love, people that I've never met, to also go and pursue their heart's desires and create the life that they wanted to live. And I was able to generate this prosperity that kept giving to the people around me. Not only did this financial prosperity come into my life, but I was able to, buy this house for my children. I was able to contribute to the scholarship to send someone to school. I was able to buy this land. I was able to give jobs to people who then were able to pass on that prosperity in their own lives, to their own children, to their own families. You see where I'm going here with this here? What is more important to you than how you feel in your creative process? And so when it comes to building a soul-based business, it's important to understand that the language of the soul, like, we have been given this thing we call emotions, and ultimately our emotions are determining our decisions. This is, a lot of people miss this. 95% of our decisions are determined by our emotions, and then we justify them with the mind, with logic. But there's actually nothing more important to us than how we feel. And every decision we make is based on how we want to feel. So even when we talk about money, I want this much money. Why do you want this much money? Because I want to feel safe, because I want to feel loved, because I want to buy this thing that I think is going to help me feel this way. And when you follow the trail, it always ends up to the same route, which is, this is how I want to feel. And so many people, we put ourselves in a really crappy trap because we subscribe to the belief system that when the day that I get this thing or make this much money or hit this milestone in my business, then I will be able to feel happy and fulfilled and like my life was worthwhile, or whatever is that thing you want to feel. I will be able to feel peace. I'll be able to feel love. I'll be able to feel whatever it is that you most value. But that is the biggest freaking lie, because how you feel right now is going to determine the quality of your life. And as a result, it's going to determine the quality of your business. And just know this is separate. This is what I'm not saying, is that, oh, how you feel will determine your business. And therefore, if you have a crappy month, then you're going to have a financially crappy month. And if you have a great month, you're going to do well. So you should feel good all the time so your business can perform. This is not what I'm saying, because that's what systems are for. And that's what a sturdy business model is for, is to be able to create the structure so that you get to feel however you need to feel every day and not have it, influence your business. So please understand that what I'm saying right now is not that. What I'm saying is that for you to really create a business by soul, you need to be connected to your soul and to listen to your soul every day. And there's an experience that your soul wants to live. And the way you're going to measure whether you're in that experience or not is by how you feel. If you feel miserable and depressed and upset, I can bet you that you are not in the experience that your heart is desiring. We're not waking up being like, I want to feel miserable, upset, and mediocre today. That's not what we're doing. You're waking up and you want to feel a certain way, which is something along the lines of love and joy and peace, contentment, whatever word you're assigning to it. It's a high frequency, elevated emotion. Why? Because it feels good. Full stop. Because it feels good. Because it feels beautiful. Because it feels good to be in love and to be in joy and to be in freedom and to be at peace. It just feels good. And so when we are on purpose, there's an entire path to take around awakening to your purpose and the many layers of that. And as I shared earlier on, that in itself isn't a finite answer. Like I've been peeling layers of my purpose for the past 7 years, and every time I'm like, oh, okay, this is it now, this is it now, this is it now. It's not like a fixed in stone and this is the only thing I need to do for the rest of my life purpose, but it's more a awakening to a deepening of, am I on purpose or not? And the biggest measurement of my purpose is how I feel as I'm in that purpose, and how I wake up. And when I'm on purpose, am I feeling how I want to feel? And as I'm taking actions, as I'm going on a client call, as I'm designing a program, as I'm going on a podcast, do I feel inside this feeling of, yeah, I'm on, my soul's online, baby? And I hope that you can, in this conversation I'm having with you, like, feel me right now. Like I am in, like my soul is here. My soul is here with me, and it's here with you through time and space. Like I'm feeling you. I'm here with you. I feel you. I feel me. Like I am in my soul. This is what it means to me when we're talking about building a business that's centered around your soul rather than your ego. And, when entrepreneurs, the biggest mistakes I see people do that just take them off a soul fueled path is to, number one, not look at their shit. And, there's something Tony Robbins says that I fully wholeheartedly agree with, which is that business is a spiritual path. Like to start your business and grow it and keep it, and to actually have a functional business that's going to help a lot of people, it is a spiritual freaking journey. Because as the steward of, like, as the captain of the ship, you better know where you're going. And if a crewmate goes off, you got to deal with it. If you feel insecure about where you need to steer the ship, you got to deal with that, or you're going to steer a lot of people in the wrong way. If there's a schedule and you got to go pick up these, you got to be at this port this one time, and there's a lot of people who paid, who are there, like, waiting at this time in this port, you better know, like, you got to pick them up at this time. And, like, even if you don't, and if you self-sabotage, you got to know how to deal with it. So it is a lot of inner work to look at yourself and to face yourself and to face the parts of your life where you're not feeling worthy, where you're feeling like you're seeking validation, where you feel like you are trying to fill your emptiness, or parts of you where you feel emptiness with more money or more fame, or like the satisfaction of knowing you've helped a lot of people, which can also be egocentric. And, I'm not saying this from a place of judgment. I've been there, I've done this, and I've helped a lot of people who have also done this. It's totally human. It's totally human. And if we are going to build businesses together that are led from our soul, and what's the benefit of building a business by soul? It's that your soul has come here to expand, to create, to unite with other souls, to experience life, to give life to life. And so, would you agree with me that when you are operating from your soul, and you just allow your soul to lead the way, wherever the way is, you don't freaking know because you're getting led into the unknown with soul for sure. Like you're going into the mystery. But wherever that road takes you is going to inevitably be for the highest good of yourself and the collective. I truly believe that when I surrender to my soul, every time I've surrendered to my soul, I've only created the best possible results for myself beyond my imagination, beyond anything my mind could have ever predicted or controlled. And not only that, by me creating that for myself, it inspired other people, or this prosperity was expanded into other people. And so I trust my soul to lead me because I know wherever it's leading me, it's going to be the freaking best. And wherever it's leading me, it's going to be the freaking best for all those around me. And so when we create a soul led business, oh my God, it's like putting gasoline on the fire because now we are building this vessel that gets to further amplify and expand our soul expression beyond what we, the individual, could have possibly done. I can't like I look at my courses, like I'm selling courses when I'm sleeping. I can't knock on hundreds or thousands of doors and be like, hey, would you like to buy my course? And give them like a sales pitch and let them know about my course and then take their credit card. Like I can't sustain the amount of purchases that are coming in through my company on my own. Neither can my team. And that's why it's so amazing that to create, even when we look at the systems part, to create a system where, wow, I can create this one thing, this one podcast right now from my heart in my passion, and then it goes into this platform and it gets disseminated to thousands of people. I can create this course right now in my heart, in my soul, and it gets disseminated to thousands of people. And with that, I get to expand and amplify my soul's purpose to like hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people just by being in my soul here and now. I mean, that blows my mind. That absolutely blows my mind. And so, if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, like creating your business, my invitation for you, first and foremost, is to really get real and honest at how you're not in your soul in your business right now. It's really important to have a reality check and ask yourself, how do you feel? First of all, physically, like how are you physically? Are you okay? Like, are you sleeping the hours you need to sleep? Are you eating what you need to eat? Are you only working, or do you have a life? Do you have time with your loved ones? Like, do you have time for your hobbies? Do you feel like you have time for self-care? Or are you too busy that you can't even step out for an hour to get a massage or to take a walk on the beach or to spend time with your kids? Like, really get honest, like physically, like how are you doing? Because that's going to be your first sign. Because if you are burning out or burning the candle on both ends physically, then that's the biggest red flag of like, hello, you are not on your soul fuel path. Even if what you're doing is on purpose, you understand? Like even if like your work is your purpose right now, if you're burning yourself down as a human being in order to feed your purpose, that's not actually sustainable, because eventually the body will crumble, and then what happens to your purpose? How can it live on if you're not healthy, you know? So that's the first piece. And then the second piece is asking yourself emotionally is, how do you feel in your creative process? Are you sitting in front of your computer every day in survival mode, in panic? Are you like, oh my God, I hope that people buy this offer? Or like, oh God, I'm really dreading my client call in 2 hours. Oh man, my team is so stressful to me. Like, da, da, da. Like, what are the stories that you're telling yourself, and how do you feel emotionally in your business? Are you stressed by your business? Are you upset by your business? Are you frustrated by your business most of the time? And again, listen, we all have our moments, okay? I'm not like stress free 100% of the time, frustration free. I have my moments of being stressed out or frustrated in my business. But it's not about not feeling negative emotions, which is a concept I don't even believe in. I think there's high frequency elevated emotions, and then there's the low frequency ones that affect your body in a different way. I don't think either one is positive or negative. But are you feeling these? Are you feeling good as you're going about your business? Are you in flow? Are you like dialed into your dharma, or are you just feeling like you're in survival mode and stress most of the time? Because that is another way that we burn ourselves out, is emotional burnout, and feeling the resentment of and anger that comes when you are depriving yourself of feeling the way that you want to feel in your creation. And this is something, I coach my clients on constantly, which is you are going to 10x your productivity when you sit down and you're in an elevated state, when you're in your bliss, in your joy, when you're in your heart and you sit down and you do a task. That task is going to fly by because you're going to be in flow and you're going to be connected, and your soul's just going to like breeze right through it, as opposed to staring at a blank screen on the laptop and being stressed and then anxious and upset and then trying to force yourself to create something for the sake of whatever outcome you think your ego thinks like it wants. And then you're just going to create something from that distorted energy, which doesn't make sense, because that your creation is then going to carry the energy, the vibe of stress and survival, and it's going to attract those people, which is going to then create an issue with the kind of clients or customers you're attracting, the ones who will like want a refund all the time, the ones that are not a pleasure to work with. And then you're wondering, why am I attracting all these unaligned clients? Well, it's because you are not aligned when you show up in your service. It's not a brain twister. And then the other piece that I haven't covered, but I want to speak into, is the energetic piece, which is, it's less tangible, but it's really about understanding that when you are in flow and when you're feeling the way that you want to feel and you're acting from your intuition, you're really listening to yourself, things just move at an accelerated timeline. Like they just move faster. And when people talk about quantum leaping, it's really around, if your energy is in survival, it means you're contracted. There's not a lot of energy to put into creation because you're just moving mass against mass. You're pushing life to get something in return. You're swimming against a river, as opposed to allowing the river to carry you, allowing your intuition to guide you, and really listening to your soul, even when it doesn't make sense, just like listening. And when you're doing that, then things move faster. They move faster. So it's really important when you're making decisions, you want to make them from that space of, oh my God, I feel my soul. My soul is a yes to this, as opposed to my ego is afraid. It's afraid that if I don't launch this program, I'm not going to make the money that I want to make. I'm afraid that if I don't post on Instagram 5 times a week, nobody's going to know who I am. I'm afraid that if I don't, take on this client, I'm not going to have enough money to pay my team. Whatever that narrative is, hopefully you can see that that's a fear-based decision, as opposed to, I feel inspired to post this thing today. I feel really inspired and like jazzed up about launching this program. I'm so excited. I feel really this calling to like reach out to this person and say hi to them and see how I can serve them. And then later that person becomes your high ticket client. And in though, when you're inspired by your intuition, when you're listening to soul, you don't ever know what the heck your actions are going to result in. And that's the catch. That's why a lot of people prefer to have the certainty of their ego than to just surrender into their soul, into their soul wisdom. And I can tell you that anytime I've surrendered to my soul, especially in business, oh my God, I mean, to the tune of multi six-figure deals with one of the top corporations on the planet, like to the tune of calling in clients that are with me still like 2 to 3 years later, to the tune of accidentally getting an invitation to do a TEDx talk. Like these are not things that I planned, to the tune of being invited to be a Forbes columnist. Like these are not things that I set up a plan and made it a strategy and like and went off to like get done. These were things that happened for me, arrived into my life when I listened to my inspiration, when I listened to my soul. because you can only create like this is what Picasso says, that inspiration comes, but it needs to see you working. It needs to find you working. And that doesn't mean that you're working like at a laptop for 15 hours a day doing stuff and pushing up against a river. It means, are you creating the space for creativity to flow? For your are you listening to your intuition? Are you allowing your soul's guidance to come through, or are you interfering with that because you're just filling your schedule with stuff and you're just filling your mind with noise, and you're like just going off in your limiting belief systems and distracting yourself and making yourself busy and having like all these ego driven goals of that are all around acquisition. And if I do this, then I get that. Or if I don't do this, then this will happen and it's scary. That's how the ego operates. The soul doesn't like talk in that language. It's a different dialect. So and I go, it's in the journey, which is my 12-month container, where that has just a treasure chest of my courses and my trainings and my programs. There's an incredible program that I offer called Master Your Story. And in that program, I go like super deep into discerning between the ego and your intuition, and how the ego speaks and how the soul speaks, and how you can really get clear on which one, who's talking, who's doing the talking, and why. And there's also an episode that I've done on soul or ego, like to know, to just be able to discern who's talking, for those of you who want to go deeper down this rabbit hole. But anyways, what I want to start to wrap up this episode by sharing is that, and this is why a lot of people, you would think, if building a business by soul was, it sounds amazing, like why am I not doing it, or why aren't people doing it? Because it does have its challenges, and because there is a certain level of deconditioning and doing things that are currently not conventional, that is going to be required to fully follow that path. To stay on the path of building a business by soul long term, you're going to have to go against the grain, because mainstream society ain't doing this, at least not right now. My hope, my prayer is that someday in the future, this is going to be the norm. It's not right now. And that's also why it's not, it hasn't been easy, because there just hasn't been enough structure to support, like enough environment, enough of a healthy environment to support operating in this way. But what I can tell you, from having done this work on myself with other people personally, as well as through courses for years and years on end, is that it's really worth it. And the the journey of walking a path, surrender to soul, is not linear, which drives the mental body bananas, because many times it is not logical. It's not rational. You can't explain it. You cannot make a plan, a 5-year plan. Sure, you can create structure, and you can predict things to a certain extent. You can create some kind of structure to support the fluidity that is walking a path and soul from soul. But you can't ever actually control it or expect it to be linear, because it ain't gonna happen. It's winding. It's winding. It's mysterious. It's in the unknown, and it requires commitment. It requires commitment, because when we commit to a path by soul or a business by soul, we are committing to walking a path that is beyond our own individual self. It is bigger than the I. It's about the we. It's about the us. And it's, not everybody wants to take that path in this lifetime or right now. But those of you who do, know that an inevitable part of this path is that there will be challenges. There will be hurdles. Because as you step deeper into soul, What you need to let go of is the personality. It's the ego. It's the conditioning that has shaped you into who you think you are. And, I recently, someone just recently shared with us that innately as human beings, we only have two fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Like we're born with that. Everything else is conditioned. Everything else is conditioned. That blew my mind. Everything else is conditioning. So to return to the original blueprint of our souls, we need to let go of a lot of things. And that includes your imposter syndrome. Yes, I said it. That includes your abandonment issues. Yes, I said it. That includes your belief of not being worthy enough. Yes, I said it. That includes all the fears that you've been creating because you've been conditioned. And it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to let them go. And again, I speak from this space, like being absolutely imperfect at this, like working on this every day for myself. And also having done this deep enough and enough times and like with enough success. And I say success as in like overcoming enough hurdles to be able to sit here and be like, yeah, this stuff works. It works. It gets better. It gets more fun. It gets more joyful. It gets more beautiful. And your business gets to become more and more in alignment with who you're really here to be and to create. And it gets to be this amazing initiation into your leadership, into your growth, into your evolution as a human being. The same way that a healthy romantic relationship does that for you. The same way that having kids does that for you. Life finds so many incredible ways to initiate you. And one of the ways that I've been lucky enough to experience is business. That's been my big ass initiation into what it really means to follow this path, to be committed to this path, to not stray, to always come back to the soul, always return to my heart. So yeah, it's going to ask you to look at some pretty tough stuff when you're leading your business by soul. It's going to ask you to look at and let go of anything that is not soul and to reconstruct it and bring it back in a way that is in alignment to who you were meant to be. Because there's nothing wrong with the ego personality. Like, it's not like our ego is a bad thing. It just gets in the way when we allow it to limit our potential. Like when we're saying, oh, no, I can't possibly grow to my next level of income because I'm not worthy. Okay, that's conditioning. Your ego's limiting you. But if you can change the story, rewrite it from the inside out and say, I can make any kind of income that I want. What is it that I'm looking to create? Let's pick a number. Let's go for it. Let's create a lot of value and service from that space and make that number manifest. Okay, now your ego is working with you. It is in service of the soul instead of working against the soul. It is the difference between your soul being in the driver's seat as opposed to your ego being in the driver's seat, telling your soul what to do. And your soul's like, yeah, I have a better plan for us, but okay, I guess if you insist, but I definitely, okay, whenever you're ready, I have a much greater plan for the both of us. But okay, keep going, keep controlling, keep driving the car, as opposed to letting soul drive and then boom, it's way better. It's way more magical, way more expansive than we could ever imagine. So, and the other important part here is that as you are going through this, as you are in this commitment, energy management to avoid burnout is going to be a big one for you. Big one, as you're being challenged. Because one of the things I found is that it's not, I'm not just growing a business. I'm self-developing as I'm growing a business. So I have a part-time job in addition to being a CEO who's also like the head marketing director and the head CFO and the head strategist and the head creative and the head visionary, the many hats that we wear as CEOs. In addition to that, I also have a part-time job to get out of my way and like resolve my shit and like improve as a human being so that I'm not allowing my conditioning and my crap to interfere with the business vision. So also that and managing your energy and being in an energized space is going to be so important. And not only that, the importance of as you're walking this path and you are committed and you're overcoming those hurdles and you're managing your energy to avoid burnout, the power of surrounding yourself with a good community and mentors to nurture your gift and to continue to mirror back to you why you are where you are. The role, like my mentors have been inevitable to me. My sisters and brothers, like fellow entrepreneurs, have been absolutely instrumental in helping me remember who the I am and get back on the path of soul leadership anytime I get distracted by some shiny thing and my ego goes, ooh, shiny, let me go over there. And I lose myself. And then, whoop, never mind, come back. And my community supports me with that. My mentors support me with that. My tools, that the toolkit I've developed, I have to whip it out almost every day to just make sure that I'm coming back into center. And last but not least, to allow your business to evolve. As I was sharing, like let your purpose evolve and let your business evolve along with your purpose instead of being like, okay, good, I found my purpose, this is what it is, forever fixed. And then your business gets like, it's like wearing a tight sweater. Like your business is trying to grow beyond the purpose that you think it is, and then it can't grow. And then that's where a lot of issues also start coming up for business owners, because it's like it starts feeling tight, or it's a feeling of this is tight and this is restraining me. And that's a really telltale sign that your business needs to evolve and expand, which means your purpose does too. So, those are a few things. I know that that was a lot, but the invitation here and the reflection that I want to bring to you is really around, what does it look and feel like for you to create your business by soul? And if you were to get really honest and real with yourself, what is in the way of that right now? What beliefs are in conflict with the business you want to create? What behavioral patterns are you engaging in that are not in alignment with how you know you want to be if you are walking the path of soul fully? Which pieces, what needs to shift? And you might see this, obviously, this might be something you need to journal and reflect on, both, which are totally cool. But really give yourself the gift of reflecting on this, because it might actually, for some of you, it might be obvious, like, oh my God, I really need to shift this thing. For some of you, it might require more contemplation, and both are totally okay. So that's what I want to leave you with. And for those of you, who are listening and really connecting with this episode, really feeling, oh my God, in my heart, like I am feeling very inspired and like I'm desiring to go deeper down this path, I wanted to let you know that I actually have a group program that I'm about to launch, and it is going to be formidable. It is called, surprise, surprise, it is called Business by Soul. And this program is has been birthed from my soul. I've been creating this and birthing this for the past 1+ years. Actually, it's never taken me this long to create a program, because I really wanted to make sure that each and every piece of this program was in full integrity and fully embodied to all the concepts that I'm speaking here today. And in this program, Business by Soul, it's a 4-month group program at the time of this recording, although that might shift as the business evolves. This program is how I plan to, it is the blueprint. The blueprint of taking you from a space of, okay, my business is not fully by soul. I'm not really sure what to do here. Or I'm feeling contracted. I'm feeling like I am in survival mode, or maybe you have a business that you love, but you want to take it to the next level. And every time you're trying to expand, you're feeling like stuck somehow. It's not really working. Either the money is not flowing anymore, or you're not getting as many leads as you were used to, but something in your gut, you're like, I cannot do things the way I used to do anymore. If you're feeling that in your business, what I used to do then does not work for me now. Like it doesn't work anymore. Something has to shift. If that's a lie for you, then listen up, because this really might be something to support you. Business by Soul is a 4-month container where I'm going to be going deep into the mindset, the energetics, as well as the practical strategy of what it looks like to create a thriving, profitable, and aligned business from your soul. And so in Business by Soul, we're going to be looking at several different things. we're going to be looking, number one, at the foundations and what I've shared today around where are you in your way right now? And in Business by Soul, I'm going to be sharing with you my proprietary subconscious reprogramming method that I'm sure if you've listened to any of the case studies on this podcast, you're going to be hearing about it, how I actually help people to be able to identify the biggest conditioning and limiting belief systems and emotional as well as energetic blocks that they have that are keeping them from actualizing their desired vision now. So we're going to get really clear on what's actually going on behind the scenes of your business and how do we release that and let that go and realign you to the true higher vision of what you're here to do. So the first phase of this program is all about getting basically cleaning out the crap that's keeping you stuck and reconnecting on a deeper level with your soul and seeing what is it that your soul is actually communicating with you. What is that new level of the purpose that you're here to call forth onto this planet and to translate into your business? What are you bringing in? What's that new vision that you're going to feel absolutely invigorated and inspired by? Part two is really getting clear on what is your soul service and what are you here to do in your business. And this is where we look at your business model. We look at your brand story and what is the story that you're telling. Your brand is just the personality of your business. What is the personality of your business? What's that new story that's looking to come into life? We look at your offers and what is it that you're really meant to be birthing at this time of your business? What's the next evolution of what you're creating? And we really take a deeper look into who your target audience actually is. Like, who are you meant to serve? Because sometimes we also grow out of the group that we're meant to serve. And people, entrepreneurs, they stuck like serving a group of people that maybe they're not passionate about serving anymore. And that has to evolve too. So we look at what is that new level of service that you're stepping into and who are the people that are meant to be receiving the service. And then we look at part three, which is all about actualization and materialization. And how do we take this strong mindset, emotional, energetic foundation that you've created for your evolution of your business? And how do we actually, turn this into action steps that you need to take next to increase your income, to attract more aligned clients, to stand out and be seen in the market? And so we're really going to look at those pieces around what's your CEO schedule and what about your team? Like, what needs to be adjusted and elevated in your team? What about your business model needs to be evolved and shifted so that you can really realign to more income, more influence, and impact? And so I'm absolutely stoked to be offering this program. It is going to, like I said, it is incredible, amazing. And not only that, but what I really love about this is that you're going to have that community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are on the same journey as you, because it can get quite freaking lonely. It can be quite lonely to be walking this path on your own when you don't have that support group. And so another gift of Business by Soul is that you get to be surrounded by incredible like-minded people who are on the same path, and you get to support each other. And of course, I'm there to mentor you down this purposeful path. There will be group coaching calls, there will be guest expert calls. I'm bringing in world-class guests. As you can see from my podcast, I'm connected to some incredible, in, super successful, like beautiful from the inside out human beings, and I'm going to be bringing them in to come and teach their philosophies in the group. So yeah, this is going to be an action packed, absolutely transformational program for those of you who are interested in joining. Then what you can do is go into the show notes, and there will be a link to the page where you can go ahead and enroll directly. If you have some questions about Business by Soul, you're wondering, hey, is this the right fit for me? I'm happy to have a chat with you and see whether this is going to be good for you. So you can just DM me, BBS, and let's have a conversation whether this is the right program for you. I'm happy to do that. And last but not least, because I want to make this really super a no-brainer for you, I'm also going to be linking in the show notes to my free masterclass on how to build a soul aligned business. And that's going to really be, giving you a high level, big picture of what it feels like to have that soul aligned business. We'll go a little deeper into what are the strategies that are required for you to create that business by soul. And then, surprise, surprise, the free masterclass is really valuable and it's going to give you more of a blueprint. But as you know, the next step after the masterclass would be to join Business by Soul, because that's where I show you how to do it. So the masterclass is more the why and the what. And I know that some of you want more information before you commit to a program, and that's perfectly fine. So if that's the case, go ahead into the masterclass, enjoy it. And if you're feeling like, yep, if your soul's like, yes, 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 yes to business by soul, then listen to your soul. And I'll see you in there. All right. So that is the end of today's episode. For those of you who loved it, please screenshot, share, let me know what you thought about it. I really love to hear from y'all. And for those of you who are feeling super inspired by this podcast, I would so appreciate it if you could go and leave this a 5-star rating and just let me know what your thoughts are in the review section. It's one of the beautiful ways that we love to receive support for this podcast, and it helps me and my team really continue to develop and grow this podcast and get it out in front of more people. So thank you so much. I'm sending you so much love, and yeah, until next time.
Thank you, beautiful humans, for tuning in to today's episode of It's Not What You Think. If you loved what you received today, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, as it helps us reach even more amazing listeners like you. If we aren't already connected on social media, come receive even more tips and inspiration by following me on Instagram at Celine DaCosta or visiting my website at CelineDaCosta.com. After listening to this episode, I invite you to take a few moments to reflect. What stood out to you? What were your key takeaways or breakthroughs? And if there was one action step you could take from this, what would it be? Thank you again for joining me on this journey. I'm sending you so much love, and I can't wait to connect in the next episode. Until then, keep sharing your unique gifts and living out your most magical life.